Hi everyone, thank you for coming back. Before we start, good tea for your good health. Today I would like to talk with you and sharing with you, the Heart Sutra. The Heart Sutra is probably the most recited and very well loved Buddhism sutra, and it might be the shortest, but it's however, the profound insight, the wisdom of the Heart Sutra definitely it contains no less than all the other long Buddhism sutras. Let's start by we'll talk about a little bit of the Buddha. I mean, everybody know about the Buddha, and his teaching is the founding stone of the Buddhism religion. He's been you may have heard him being referred to as Gautama Buddha, or Siddhartha Gautama, or Shakyamuni, or simply the Buddha. That's all just different names for the Buddha. The Buddha lived between the 6th and the 4th century BC. So remember when we were talking about Laozi. Laozi was born 571 BC. So Laozi and the Buddha were... Hi Richard, thank you for coming back. So just saying, give a little introduction about the Buddha. So Buddha and Laozi were actually lived around the same time. One is in China, one's in India, so somehow I don't believe that they know each other. However, what's amazing is that their teachings are very similar. I mean, to me they are pointing to the same truth. I guess it's not amazing because the universal truth is it's the same, whether for the Laozi or for Buddha or for you or for me. So Laozi and Buddha they do not make up the truth. The truth is always true, always there, and they found the truth, they realized the truth, and what they're writing are trying to help us to realize what they realize. So about the Buddha. So some people probably already know that he was a prince of a small country in India. Story goes that his father, the king, liked him very much. So the king just provides him with everything that he needs, all the good things, beautiful place to live in, beautiful servants, beautiful people to surround him. So his early life, he knows no pain, no suffering. So the idea is everything is good. One day he was living in a palace all his life. So one day he went outside for a little ride, and then down the road he saw an old man walking very slowly with a cane. So he asked the person next to him, probably his guard or servant. So he asked, will I become old someday? And the servant said, yes, everyone becomes old. So for him, it was probably a shock. And then a little more down the road, he saw some people carrying a sick person, and the sick person was in pain. So he asked his servant, so what happened to this person? And the servant said, this person is sick. So he asks that, will I be sick someday? And the servant says, maybe, we all possibly will get sick. So that's another big shock for him. And then a little more down the road, he saw a funeral. So he asked his servant, so will I die someday? And the servant said, yes, we all die eventually. And that's where he realized that even being a prince, nobody in the world, even him as a prince, that he can escape. There are in Buddhism. Buddhism says that believes that there are 4 kinds of suffering in human life. It's in Chinese, it's 生老病死. It means birth, aging, sickness, and death. So these are the 4 basic kinds of suffering that nobody can escape. So after Buddha realized that there are these sufferings that everyone in this world will have to suffer, that's when he decided he wants to find a way. He wants to free himself, and also find a way that everyone can free themselves from the sufferings of life. And the story goes that's when he left his family, his wife and his son, and he started on his path to seek the way to rid of all this suffering, and he started his path of seeking the truth. So that's a little story about the Buddha. So this Heart Sutra, the English translation that I posted earlier in the group, it's probably the most recent English translation of the Heart Sutra. There have been many translations. This one was by a renowned Vietnamese monk. Some people might have heard of him, Thich Nhat Hanh. I really enjoyed this version because I found it's simple to understand. Also, it's very beautiful. It's like a poem. So we'll start by, I'm going to read through the Heart Sutra, and then we'll go through explain what actually, as you heard it, a lot of the things are it's very simple. It's very clear, the message, that's the wisdom that's in this Heart Sutra. So the Heart Sutra. Avalokiteshvara, while practicing deeply with the insight that brings us to the other shore, suddenly discovered that all of the 5 Skandas are equally empty. And with this realization, he overcame all ill being. Listen, Sariputra, this body itself is emptiness, and emptiness itself is this body. The body is no other than emptiness, and emptiness is not other than this body. The same is true of feelings, perceptions, mental formations, and consciousness. Listen, Sariputra, all phenomena bear the mark of emptiness. Their true nature is the nature of no birth, no death, no being, no non-being, no defilement, no purity, no increasing, no decreasing. That is why in emptiness, body, feelings, perceptions, mental formations, and consciousness are not separate self-entities. The 18 realms of phenomena, which are the 6 sense organs, the 6 sense objects, and the 6 consciousnesses, are also not separate self-entities. The 12 links of interdependent arising and their extinction are also not separate self-entities. Ill-being, the causes of ill-being, the end of ill-being, the path, insight, and attainment are also not separate self-entities. Whoever can see this no longer needs anything to attain. Bodhisattvas who practice the insight that brings us to the other shore see no more obstacles in their mind. And because there are no more obstacles in their mind, they can overcome all fear, destroy all wrong perceptions, and realize perfect nirvana. All Buddhas in the past, present, and future, by practicing the insight that brings us to the other shore, are all capable of attaining authentic and perfect enlightenment. Therefore, Sariputra, it should be known that the insight that brings us to the other shore is a great mantra, the most illuminating mantra, the highest mantra, a mantra beyond compare, the true wisdom that has the power to put an end to all kinds of suffering. Therefore, let us proclaim a mantra to praise the insight that brings us to the other shore. Gadi Gadi, Paragadi, Parasamgadi, Bodhisattva. It's very beautiful. So the name Heart Sutra is abbreviated name for this sutra. And the English translation of the full name is the heart of the perfection of wisdom. The heart of the perfection of wisdom. So it's the heart of the wisdom and the perfection, the heart of the perfection of wisdom. You know, I've been thinking the word wisdom, like, we often say somebody's very wise, or like a book, Dao De Jing, is full of wisdom. However, what does wisdom means exactly? Like what make, let's say, what make Laozi a wise person? Is it because that he knows, he has a knowing of the truth, whether it's about the universe, or it's about ourselves, or about maybe our body? Ming often will ask his students, like, who am I? I mean, this I certainly is not Ming, but for everyone to think about, who am I? So it's trying to point to trying for you to see, get to the knowing of who you are. And it's the answer, it's different for different people. So we all have a knowing. For example, like everybody have had like intuition, insights, like the moment that, like, suddenly you realize something, and this kind of a realization, if you remember, it's like, oh, that's aha. So it's, when it comes, you just know that that's true. It's so clear. So, but where does it come from, right? Where does that knowing come from? Was that the place that the realization come from? And we all, so if that, we have, everybody's have insights and intuitions, so that place that the knowing come from, so it's everyone can access it. And for me, I think that that's the reason we're reading books like Dao De Jing, like Heart Sutra, and Bible for some people, that it's for, by reading let's say Dao De Jing, that the knowing of Laozi coming from the place that all of these wise wisdom come from. By reading the Dao De Jing, it help us, probably is pointing or connecting us to the ability to have these knowing in ourselves. Because we don't want to be able to always have to rely on the what's been written down by other people to gain the wisdom. We want to be able to reach down into ourselves, the place that we will be able to get all of these wisdom, all of this knowing. And just like we said earlier, if the Buddha and Laozi, they were able to connect with, you can say, the Tao, you can say the universal truth, or the Buddhahood, the Buddha state, they might be all pointing to the same thing. Then every one of us, we should be able to reach deep down and connect with that place inside ourselves. Buddha have said that every sentient being, every being has what Buddha has. So it's the same, it's no other. It's the constant in Tao. So that's what I'm hoping, certainly for me and for everyone else, that by reading Dao De Jing and Heart Sutra, will be able to connect with that place, that with the place that knowing happens inside ourselves. Okay, so let's dig into the Heart Sutra. So the first one is like the first sentence is Avalokiteshvara. So Avalokiteshvara, no worries about these long names. Avalokiteshvara is a Sanskrit name for the one of the bodhisattvas. Bodhisattva just means any person who is on the path towards Buddhahood but has not yet attained. It's once you attain Buddhahood, then you become a Buddha or the Buddha, since all is one. So I think once we attain Buddhahood, their individuality, but they're all oneness. So this bodhisattva, and also often like monks and nuns in the Buddhism religion would respectfully call everyone like a bodhisattva. So whoever who wants to learn the Tao, learn the way, has the intention to do it, so is a bodhisattva. So when we were trying to learn that, we're all bodhisattvas. So this bodhisattva, this Avalokiteshvara, I really like the Chinese translation of his name. His name is Guan Zizai Pusa. Some people also translate it as Guan Shiyin Pusa. In English, it means perceive, observe the self, or perceive, observe the sound. Often, the name for a bodhisattva is not just any name. It's the name, hi Karen, that also teaches us the practice of how this bodhisattva has practiced, has using this method that to improve, to getting closer, to realize the Tao, or to gain higher realization. So it's a very commonly used Buddhism practice. Is you if you have read other books on Buddhism, you may have read about this method. This method is guan, 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 或者照. It just means observe, or just like the simple, I guess the simple, a little rough explanation is one of the practice is that you it's also as if you remove yourself a little bit from you, and you just so you can observe about your body, your mind, your thoughts, the feelings, but don't react to it, just observe it. Even though this is a simple method, to me, I feel like it's also a very profound and very sharp, very quick method for us to help us to be more gaining better balance, because we often are too attached to our body's feelings, our mind, our thoughts. So we are too close to it that we won't be able to. Sometimes you often hear saying like let go and relax. It's like how do we do it? So this is actually a very easy, simple method, but it's also a very useful, effective method. to be able to observe your thoughts, your sensations, or even anything that's happening with like in your senses, in your consciousness. To be able to do that, you have to be able to, in a word saying, separate from them. For example, if something that's too close to us, if it's something that's right on your eye, you won't be able to see it. The only reason that to be able to observe it, you have to put it to a certain distance, so that's why you can see it. So just this method will be able to help us break out our habit of following our thoughts, stuck with our thoughts, and to be able to gain a little distance, so we're getting a better balance. So it's from this place of observeness. I mean, what's observing? Like what observe? We cannot pause a second to think about. Let's see, we're to observe how you feel, to observe your body, your state of mindness is it's more expanded. It's separate. So that's how you may have also seen there's practice saying like just observe your mind. So when the thought comes, let it come, and do not resist it nor cling to it. So when the thought goes, just let it go, right? So to be able to do that, you have to be able to have a distance from it. And with that distance, you gave it space. So the thought, and also often if you practice, you'll find like if you have some pain in your body, for example, if you have pain in your shoulder, someday try this method and just observe it. Do not react to it. Do not also do not say, and certainly probably nobody will be like, oh, I really like this sensation. Or most people probably be like, oh, I really wish that this pain can be gone. And so just be a little back and just observe the pain, no reaction to it. And oftentimes you notice that the sensation is there, but then it stops bothering you, and then quickly sometimes it'll be like, no, it will be like it will either it's lower its intensity, or it probably will just goes away. Sometimes it's just like we don't realize that we're actually clinging to something, even though we might think we don't want it. But the idea of our keep thinking about it is actually a way to trying to hold on to it. So we need to learn a way to give it space, to let it come and let it go. Also, think about where does thoughts, where does feelings, sensations, where do they come from? And then when they're gone, where do they go? So that's a very that's a good question to contemplate when you have time. Okay, so this bodhisattva, while practicing deeply with the insight that brings us to the other shore. An insight, some people will translate as wisdom, and we've already talked about wisdom that bring us to the other shore. This shore, the other shore, often used in Buddhism as just as a way to describe this shore usually means that there's life and death. There's this constantly, things are changing, and there are pain, there's suffering. And the other shore, compared to this shore, in Buddhism, it means a state of enlightenment. So it usually says when somebody have realized nirvana, or maybe realized the Tao, and that is you reach the other shore. That's a place that's constant and no birth, no death. To me, I don't think that this like, okay, so why maybe we're feeling we don't have all the full realization, enlightenment, then that we're stuck in this shore, and there's some other shore that we're trying to reach. To me, this shore and the other shore, it's kind of like yin and yang. It's like in chapter 1 of Dao De Jing, the yu and the wu, and which means the emptiness. And here, actually, in this translation, it's also translated emptiness. The emptiness and the thing, the existence, the thingness, that the things we could see, perceive, we can hear. It's like our body, like yin and yang. It's always, it's here. But when we are clinging to, when we paying our attention all to the phenomena, things comes and go. So we're on this shore. However, when you sit back, when you realize that the blank of a piece of paper, that's also us. So that is the other shore. There's no how do I want to say this? So it's at the different times, probably at different your realization that which where you are. And there's I don't think that the people thinking everybody would like to reach nirvana, so the other shore is better than this shore. I think it's like also like in chapter 1, these two are from the same source. I don't think that Laozi would say Wu is better than you, or you is better than Wu. It's what we're trying to do is to be able to gain a balance. When we only realize that all the you and we are feeling like we're being it's all happening to us and nothing we can control, then we're in this shore. However, when the wooness, when you realize something like things can come and go, it doesn't have to affect us, then we are, at least we're closer to the other shore. Okay, so it continues. When this Bodhisattva practicing the wisdom, and he suddenly discovered that all of the 5 skandhas are equally empty. And with this realization, he overcame all ill being. It sounds very good. We all want to be able to overcome all ill being. So there's a little bit of the Buddhism terms, like what's the 5 skandhas? In Buddhism, the 5 skandhas are talking about 5 bodily and mental factors that take part in the rise of that's a being's person and a personality. That also it's the reason that takes part in the rise of craving and clinging. The 5 factors are in Buddhism, there are one is form. Form also can be matter or body. So physical, our physical part of ourselves. And then sensations. Sensations can also be translated, it can be saying feelings. That sensation also, we'll explain each one using an example after we go through all these 5 factors. And the next one is perceptions. And then the next one is a mental activity or mental formation. And the last one is consciousness. And in Buddhism, they believe that these 5 are what make up our us. I thought about a simple example is the first one, form. That's easy, or it can be like our body. Our body, we all know it's part of us. And the next one, sensation. Sensation is, for example, like if somebody hit me on the arm, right? So I can feel it. I can feel that what it's like, what it caused my body to feel. So that feeling is that sensation. However, it's not like some people will be like, somebody hit me on the arm, it's like, oh, it hurts. So that it's not the sensation yet. Sensation, first it was just this feeling without any connection of our without the perception. So the perception is that, oh, it actually hurt. So that's our perceiving of this feeling as something hurt. If somebody tickle you, there's that feeling, and we will perceive it as, oh, it tickles, it's itchy. So this, for example, in this example, okay, oh, hurts, that's pain, that's the perception. And the next one is the mental activity that rise up because of this, which means, for example, if somebody hit me, it's like, oh, it hurts, and then my mind probably thinking, why is this person doing it? You know, is he mad at me? So is he trying to cause me harm? However, like, for example, like if you've done Tuina with Ming, for example, Ming probably can get to Ming find the wherever spot that's blocked in your body, and then give you a Tuina. It also causes, you know, that the more blocked it is, that when you push it, you're trying to break up the blockage, and you can feel that it can be very painful. And however, in that situation, you won't be thinking like, oh, Ming's mad at me or trying to cause me harm. Instead, you probably thinking, oh yeah, that is the spot. It's great. We found the spot. That's the problem. It's being worked out. So the mental activity is one step removed from what sensation. It comes to our interpretation of what's happening. The last one is consciousness. Consciousness is what the knowing of all of these. How do we know what we're thinking? You know, our the sensations that the conscience is the one that knows how everything's happening in it. So since Heart Sutra is saying that actually all of this we just mentioned, then it's equal. They are equally empty. So think about that. So when I read this, I was like, isn't that pretty much exactly what the Tao Te Ching, the chapter 1 was saying, that Yu and the Wu, they're from the same source. They're just have a different name, have different names. Okay, let's keep going. So listen, sariputra. So Sariputra is one of the chief disciples of Buddha. In a lot of the Buddhism Sutra, at least a lot, maybe all. So I'm not an expert on all the Buddhism sutras, but a lot of the sutras were spoken by the Buddha when answering questions asked by students and the people who listen to his teachings. So you'll find out there's a lot of that. Here it says, "Listen, Sariputra." It's like he's talking to his this disciple Sariputra. This body itself is emptiness, and emptiness itself is this body. The body is no other than emptiness, and emptiness is no other than this body. And the same is true of feelings, perceptions, mental formations, and consciousness. This is pretty much just separate up all the 5 skandhas and then emphasizing each one. They are not different than emptiness. It's like we cannot separate. I might still have, see if I still have that piece of paper right here. Like we cannot separate this piece of paper we cannot separate this dot from this piece of paper. So let's keep going because it's pretty clear. It's pretty simple and clear, I think the message is. Listen, Sariputra, all phenomena bear the mark of emptiness. Their true nature is the nature of no birth, no death, no being, no non-being, no defilement, no purity, no increasing, no decreasing. This little section is very nice. Make me think about something like what has the nature of no birth, no death, no being, no non-being. Something that cannot be made dirty, or you cannot describe it as pure. Something that's cannot you cannot change it, make it. So it sounds to me is talking about when it since we're studying this with Tao Te Ching chapter 1, it sounds like something that's like the constant. Like remember, chapter 1 says Tao that if it can be named, is now the constant Tao. So if something that doesn't change, that's it's no birth or death, isn't that Buddha's also pointing to the constant Tao? Okay, so let's finish the next section. I know it's already 11, so thank you everyone for still watching this. That is why in emptiness, body, feelings, perceptions, mental formations, and consciousness are not separate self-entities. Okay, so now we're familiar with all these 5 parts that make up as a person, make up our personality. So he's saying that in emptiness, all of these have no separate self-entities. He's not saying, so I want to point out, he's not saying like these 5 factors does not exist, has no entity. He's just saying that it doesn't exist as a self-independent, as a separate entity. So it's we cannot separate it from the emptiness that we can say all of these 5 parts arise from, and probably ended up going back to. So it's like a good example is like the ocean and the waves. Like you can say that each wave, you can say that, it's you can say this wave, that wave, separate them. However, when it's talked about the water, the ocean, the waves don't it's part of the ocean. It doesn't exist separate from the ocean. It doesn't have its separate self-entity. I think that's what it means here. So thank you, everyone. It's a little bit after 11, so we've gone through about a little less than half of the Heart Sutra. So next week, we'll finish the rest of the Heart Sutra. Thank you very much, and hope everybody have a wonderful day. Bye-bye. Thank you, Richard. Have a great day.